Hi, I'm Alicia Williams from Locations Estate Agents Gladstone, doing our locations, lifestyle and business segment. On the couch, or on the chair I should say, today I'm with Sadie from Speech Studio & Co, correct?
Correct.
And I would hate to stuff that up given the line of work that you're in. Thank you for joining us.
That's okay, thank you for having me.
Wonderful. And can you tell the viewers at home what you do?
Perfect. So I'm a speech language pathologist. I studied a Bachelor of Speech Pathology at Central Queensland University in Rockhampton many years ago now.
You're not that old.
No, I'm not. And so I finished that with an honours degree and then went on to study my Masters in Autism Studies. I've worked primarily with paediatric clients in the disabled sector. Worked for other private practice in town as well as companies, and I guess COVID hit and I wasn't enjoying where I was, and it wasn't the line of work that I believed that I was made for.
Yes.
So I decided to quit that venture with no idea of what was next, and it was my partner who actually came along and said, why don't you just open your own? And I think there's lots of stigma around the fact that, like, young females opening their own businesses. I was very worried about, was it going to sink?
Or swim?
Yep. And I guess I just was like, well, let's just try. So I got the business up and running within 2 weeks. We were based out of a multifaceted occupational therapy, physiotherapy building.
That is such a mouthful.
Yes.
Yep.
And worked in there with some other clinicians running our Speech Studio & Co, where we had some internal referrals happen. Within 3 days, our books were full with a compiled wait list of 50 plus participants within the community.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I think it just goes to show the really big need in our community for a service just like the one that we provide.
So there's a big gap and just didn't know that it existed until you took a bit of a punt and went out in that space.
Yeah,
wow.
Exactly.
Interesting. So you've had a couple of challenges that you've mentioned already. There was sort of COVID and starting a new business, not really sure where your market was, if there was a market. What's been the next biggest challenge so far in your business career?
So I think for me, it's the fact that there are so many clients within the community that require services.
Yes.
And then I guess making sure that we're providing, I guess, a top quality service for the clients that we do see. But I guess it's really hard because, you see 50 to 60 clients across the week, and it's not like a doctor's appointment where you just book in, you see them once and then you go on your way.
Yeah.
Some of these kids they've followed me through my journey. I also have a few adults as well, so I've been seeing them for 3 to 4 years now. So it's ongoing weekly therapy. You see the same clients ongoing until, they meet their goals, and then we place them into an environment where they can keep succeeding. But it's very hard because you've got clients that are ringing up, I want an appointment. You've got a wait list compiled with over 100 people, and you can't offer appointments to them. I think we've had 3 new clients come through within the last year, so we haven't had much movement in our caseload.
Okay, and that's just because of that whole repeat program you're going to do with the same clients.
So our target audience, I guess that's what I had to decide, what was it that I wanted to be fulfilled with. So primarily seeing complex disabilities. So we see lots of children that are not physically able, so they're wheelchair bound.
Okay.
Also non-verbal.
Yes.
So we use a lot of assistive technology in order for them to communicate. So that's another realm as well. And then I guess opening the market up to adults. There's not many speech pathologists within the Central Queensland region that actually target adults. So it's honestly, when I have a man that I can think of actually with multiple sclerosis, and he's an amazing man, and he'll come into the clinic and when he leaves I cry of happiness because that's why I do my job.
Wow.
So I think my biggest thing has been moving away from lisps and speech sound disorders and more focusing on children with complex disabilities and complex needs, and then adults at the end of their life, and then trying to find their voice when they don't have one.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot.
And do you find, particularly for adults, there is a little bit of a stigma around what they do and what their condition is and
100%.
how to treat it?
So I think we all know in general males are quite stubborn. It's the same with
disclaimer.
Disclaimer. But it's the same with all adults. So my male clients, I majority see adult clients with disabilities that are male, and I find that there's a lot of stigma around, I don't need your help, like you're just going to teach me how to talk. I don't need that. And there's so much more to our job than just teaching someone how to talk.
Of course.
There's been lots of, I guess, conflicting conversations and lots of argumentative clients that we've had along the way that have really been like, I don't know why I'm here, my wife booked the appointment. I've come though, so can you tell her? And what happens then is we explain exactly what it is that we can do for the client, and they end up leaving, apologising, saying, I need this is what I need, I didn't know.
It's fabulous.
So I do think everyone, well, not everyone, but there are lots of people within the community that aren't as educated on what it is that we do. I just know from when I first finished uni, everyone was like, oh, you can teach me how to talk. And I used to be like,
no, you still mumble.
So much more. So much more. So yeah, we do lots of swallowing as well. So lots of dysphagia, so swallowing assessments and looking at the anatomical structures.
Yes.
And referrals abroad.
And I can also imagine a guy coming in and there's rainbows everywhere. Probably he's thinking this is a stitch up, whereas my wife 100%. Sent me.
So I guess we chose a rainbow for our logo in the sense that I just see a rainbow being throughout the whole duration of your life.
Yes.
A rainbow for me is like quality of life. There's always something great at the end of the rainbow, whether that is, you know, someone finding their voice, someone meeting their goals. And the rainbow we chose obviously has the different layers. So I always saw that as you're never going to have a client that's the same. So it's never just a straight line. There might be some dents in the journey, but when we do get there, it's almost like, you know, you see the parents' faces when you have a child that can't say a word and then they leave their stint of intervention and their child's saying, you know, up to 20 to 30 words, and they're just like, that's like for them, that's their pot of gold.
It's amazing. Yeah. That's just, it completely would change that family dynamic.
Yeah. And I think providing someone with the ability to be able to communicate, it's such a social aspect, but also I think at the end of the day, without our voices, you know, we can't be able to express our everyday needs and wants and be able to be a part of, you know, this evolving demographic of children and adults with disabilities.
Yeah, very, very true, very true. So shifting gears a little, big goals for you in the next 12 months?
Well, potentially find a bigger property.
Yes.
to have our operating speech pathology services out of. We do also, I say we, it's me. I also have a allied health assistant coming on board.
Yes.
So she will be taking some of my more non-complex clients just to start moving that wait list along and ensuring we can provide a bigger benefit to the community. And we've been doing lots of training sessions for support staff. So for example, support workers that's actually provides services to these clients across the day.
Okay.
Making sure they can identify signs and they can actually intervene with intervention approaches throughout the day, rather than it just being, you know, I'm an hour a week, I can't, you know, move mountains in an hour, but if we've got that consistent approach across the board, then it's really amazing. So I think just reaching a higher target audience with all the time that we have, but also broadening and making sure our service can grow into something bigger to provide more clients.
And it does sound like you're trying to develop that a little bit more. So when you're just saying then with support workers not thinking that they have the ability to have an impact in that short 1 hour or, you know, 1 hour time slot a week or whenever that happens to be, I think you're right in the consistency that they can actually have a huge impact by just doing that 1%, chipping away and being able to introduce those strategies to help or to refer when needed, whereas previously it probably was swept under the carpet and then it becomes a bigger problem.
The service that I've, I guess, created, I didn't want it just to be something where you come for your appointment, see you later, we see you next week. I wanted it to be something where parents could track progress and, you know, support workers could be writing in the client's communication books and we can look over it and go, okay, what can we change across the day? Even though I'm not there, what can we do better? So I think that that's really important, and I guess aspiration's a huge thing for clients with disabilities, especially complex needs. So making sure the support workers can actually identify the risks before they get to the hospital, so that, you know, I can be called to go, hey, can you come over and assess this before we make bigger moves to move forward to something like that situation.
Yeah, before it escalates, as we would say.
Right.
Yes. So you've achieved a whole heap so far. How long have you been in business now?
So this business has been operating since May 2020. So not very long.
Yeah, wow, 1 year. You've survived.
But definitely wouldn't have it any other way.
No.
And I think in a year I've definitely reached goals that we had set for 2 years.
Terrific.
So it's, I guess, amazing to know that we can do it.
Yeah, you're very capable, very, very
exactly
capable.
Right.
And would you have a word of advice to other business owners or people who are thinking about taking that next step?
I think back yourself 100%, even if you're not certain. It's not just about the benefit for yourself, it's about the benefit for others.
Yes.
And I think even, you know, if you have those fears, the only way to conquer them is just to take them, you know, head on. And I don't know, like the biggest thing is take the leap.
Yes.
Because without it, you're not gonna be able to know what way it would go. And I think being like a young female as well, my biggest thing is I was working in companies that it was really hard to feel empowered because they were so busy and big and, you know, hustle bustle. And I just found that, you know, going out on my own and taking that leap really empowered myself to do things. And now I just want to instill other people with that empowerment. Yeah, and I think like the biggest thing is just do it.
And that is your gift to give back, that you've taken that leap and then show others how easy it is.
Exactly right.
Often it's just that internal dialogue of what if, but what if it actually pulled off? And what if you did amazing things? And I've always been a big believer, and it's my risk profile anyway, it's a bit of a science behind it, that if it doesn't work out, you just get up and do something else.
Exactly.
And I've always said that, you know, even to Joel, my partner, if we're down to our last $5 and it goes, well, I just go work tomorrow. You just go find something else.
Yeah.
It's not doom and gloom. And if you're going to fail fast. That's something that they say in business as well.
And I think if you fail doing something you love, then it's not really a failure at all.
That's a lesson.
No, exactly right.
And character building. Lots of character building in business.
That's
yes.
Exactly right.
Yes. Now, last but not least, how can people find you? Where are you? How can they connect with you?
You can find us on Facebook, Speech Studio & Co. We also have an Instagram, Speech Studio & Co. as well, which we share lots of fun journeys of our clients, so you can get to know some of the clients that we do have, and exciting ventures like professional development that I might be going into, such as we have a therapy dog joining us.
Wow.
So yeah, we will be I think one of the first therapeutic providers that will provide something like that in Gladstone. So we have a Groodle, Humphrey, who will be in the office 24/7 quite soon.
Don't give any of our staff any ideas.
Therapy dogs are amazing.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, that's it. So I think, you can come into the office if you have an inquiry. We do have a email that's on all of our socials, and that's our best point of contact because, to be honest, I don't really answer the phone throughout the day because I'm just in
meetings all the time. So definitely connect online, and then also on premise here, shop floor, which actually faces Auckland Street for all the punters at home.
Yeah, that's it.
Got to make it easy. Well, look, thank you so much for sharing your story. It's very, very interesting, no doubt, particularly providing such a unique service to the Gladstone community. So thank you for all the good work that you do, and we look forward to catching up with you soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
No problem. See ya.